Hi everyone. Today was an interesting day, and I'll get to that in a second. But today I woke up at like around 8:30, went to use the restroom, got some water. My mom ended up baking some biscuits in the oven, and I ate one biscuit, and then I immediately went back to sleep until 9:30 a.m. Why specifically that? Well, here's where the interesting part comes in. Turns out that I had work today from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. And why is that interesting? Well, it's because for the last, I'd say 3, 4, 5 weeks, somewhere around like that, something like that. I have had nothing but 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. shifts. So the fact that I had a 11 to 8 shift today, and also tomorrow, by the way, was kind of a culture shock to me. It felt like a weird throwback to a different era of my job where, I basically was just doing the normally expected work of what it is to be a courtesy clerk. Whereas before it was just constant janitorial duties. So very odd shakeup that certainly was for sure. Not that I was complaining, there was an oddly, strangely nostalgic vibe about doing the original courtesy clerk duties today. But again, I will get to that. When I got up at 9:30, I had this weird aftertaste in my mouth from eating the biscuit and then going back to sleep. And for some reason, the residue of the biscuit on the back of my tongue just gave me a really bad morning breath. That was really gave this really awful taste in the back of my tongue that I didn't really like. I tried to wash it down with water when I woke up in the morning and was able to mitigate it somewhat, but yeah, it was still somewhat there too. I then used the restroom. I was then joining my mom and my sister in the den where my mom was trying to make a Ants Were Marching On song, kind of a parody of John Goes Marching On, I think is the name of the song. And basically she wanted to make a new music video using Google's music generator with her own lyrics. And then using video generator, which would be provided by Grok, by the way. So yeah, she was trying to get this project revved up, and she sent me the lyrics through messaging, and I sent those to Gemini, but Gemini said that it couldn't generate it, and I sent multiple times doing a few alterations using the thinking model instead of the auto model or the fast model on Gemini, and lo and behold, it just kept on denying the request until eventually it said, sorry, you used up your thinking model usage, even though I never got any results to begin with, and it said you have to wait for 4 or 5 hours before you have access to that again, which was a huge bummer. I then needed to prepare my lunch for work, where I made a sandwich with mustard, mayonnaise, cayenne pepper, honey ham, and cheddar cheese on a Wonder bun. And then I put that with some cheese mix. And next to that, I put some raisins. And I put that in a container. I put on my work clothes, and I said goodbye to my mom and sister, told them I loved them, and then I immediately left for work. And when I arrived at work, I punched in, and the day started off on lot where I pushed carts. I would sometimes offer carts to customers if they needed them. And sometimes they said yes, sometimes they said no, and sometimes they asked for a different cart size. Happened for about an hour. Then my next hour was pretty much just bagging. Went by pretty smoothly. Was very positive and very courteous and attentive to the customer's needs and what they needed, whether it be more bags, double bags, or made sure they got everything they needed. Then, for the third hour, I was on samples, where I brought around a cart with some chips and salsa on it and would offer it around customers all over the store. And I was able to get a few people who tried it out, and some of them liked it so much they asked what the salsa's name was and where they could find it, and I just told them. I showed them the bottle and told them it was in the Delhi Island area. So yeah. And then after that, I remember I was what did happen after that? Oh yeah. After my samples, I was then doing a lot once more. Not much to say, kind of just a repeat of the first hour. Oh yeah, and my break consisted of going upstairs and doing cosmic energy breath work by breath with Sandy, and doing that for like 10 minutes. Sorry. And for lunch I ate my meal I prepared while watching a Ross Coulthart reality check, where he interviewed a military official who was taking video of the supposed drones that filmed near 2024, late 2024, early 2024, something like that. I think late 2024. And how it was doing a bunch of unique maneuvers and moves, like moving, going side to side, and essentially like ignoring the laws of physics. It was pretty interesting. And then I, once I was finished with my meal, I washed my Tupperware, I dried it, I put it away in the fridge. Need to use the restroom after that. I went downstairs, punched back in, need to use restroom just a little bit more. And then after that, I looked at my schedule. Turns out I didn't have anything until the last 2 hours, which the first hour would be lot, and the third hour after lunch would be lot, and the fourth hour after lunch would be sweeps, and everything before that bagging. So bag away I did. Was pretty quiet, kind of kept to myself most of the time. Sometimes I would like ask them, "Oh, how are you doing today?" or ask them if they need bags, or make an observation about like, "Ooh, I notice you have cats. I have cats too," with a cat food can or whatnot. So things like that. But overall, pretty sedate and automated day, I would say. So yeah, after I did my duties, I punched out. I grabbed 4 different Cheeto bags, including a Cheeto Puff pickle bag, regular Cheeto bag, extra hot Cheeto bag, and a lemon Cheeto bag. And the reason why is because they have a buy 4 and you get them each for $3 deal. So it's like, well, I like Cheetos and I want to try the pickle ones, and I'll just save the other ones for way later when I want to have them. But for now, just have a little stash there. So I got that. I wanted a candy, so I was looking in the candy aisle and I found these nerd clusters with like juice in the middle. So I got that because that looked pretty interesting. And then I wanted like Hostess donuts, so I got the Hostess Crunch donuts, and yeah. And then I bought everything. I said goodnight to my coworkers and my co-bosses. I was walking out the door, and then I realized I left the company phone in my pocket because I forgot to mention this, but I also did take out deliveries too today. I did like at least 2 or 3, but I forgot that I had the work phone in my pocket until around the time I was leaving out. So I turned around, I signed out of the phone, I gave it to my co-manager, and then I went back off to my car. When I got in my car, I put my stuff on the seat next to me, and then I listened to a little podcast called Sardonicast, where YMS, IHE, and Man Caring Things were talking about the Oscars and how they thought it's not as fun when like things are actually competent. Like it's more fun when things are like go off the rails and are cringy, so we can make fun of it or talk about how silly it was. So yeah, that was a pretty interesting take, I would say. Then I was driving home. When I arrived home, my mom, sister, and family friend were watching a movie with Chris Hemsworth and the guy who played the Hulk, Mark Ruffalo. It was like an action movie of some kind. Chris Hemsworth had an American accent, which was interesting because I think he's Australian. I allowed the donuts to be shared with my mom and sister, a family friend. They ate some. And then I got out the pickle puffs, pickle Cheeto puffs. My sister tried one at first, and she said it kind of tasted like a cheeseburger puff. I tried one myself. I'd have to agree it did taste kind of like a cheeseburger puff. Something about the citrusy, hot taste. It was really interesting, really unique. I didn't quite like it. Although I will say that it kind of turns into sandpaper in your mouth, like after like the first few bites. Really strange. But I poured a bowl of that. I used a special device that closed the Cheeto bag really good. And then I got an A&W Zero Sugar. I went in my room because they were already in the midst of watching the movie, so I didn't really want to watch something that was like already like in the middle of. So I decided to go in my room, turn on the TV, and watch Red Letter Media video where Mike and Jay were talking about this like movie called Crank, and they were basically describing it as like a film that was like really full of debauchery and ridiculousness and just like absolute insanity. And there were some clips I was like, oh my gosh, this thing is insane. What the heck? I've never seen a film like this before. It's crazy. But yeah, I was like done watching it for a while, so I turned it off. Oh, and I forgot to mention before leaving from work to home, I would eat way too many of those nerd gummy clusters. Probably should not eat like more than like 6, but I think I had like probably 15 or 18, maybe more than that. I was pretty greedy when it came to that candy. Yikes. Yeah, and then afterwards, me and my mom collaborated on the Ant video. She had to create new lyrics and new genre because what we were trying to do was too close into the realm of another song that already existed about dun 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 dun. That song. So we changed it into like a swinging 1920s like you know bar singing song, and it sounded pretty good. my sister had the idea of like making a version with like folk music that sounded similar to the "Oh Brother Where Art Thou" soundtrack. So we did that for like two different songs, and they came out quite good. Then we were bouncing around ideas of what we could do, how Miss Bumble could present the story, and then we decided we finally came to the conclusion of what we were looking for, where which was my mom is going to be doing a storyboard now based on the jazz song that she listened to, although she liked the other songs, so was listening to them too. And yeah, she'd make a storyboard of that, show me, and we'd take things from there. After that, I showed her this video of like this lady scientist called Amy Eskridge, I believe, who sadly is no longer with us. And how she said that there was like directed energy weapons being used against her during her research on advanced technologies. So, yeah, that's pretty spooky. Yeah, and then I went in my room. I decided to watch some Ren and Stimpy because I wanted to watch some dumb, silly cartoon to wind down my day. And then I decided to make this video, and that's pretty much the day in a nutshell. Overall, a little disorienting, a little eclectic, but at the same time, there was some good moments here and there. And I do appreciate living another day of life. I will say, though, I also had too much junk food. I ate like donuts with like the coffee and everything, and I was just like, wow, this is so much sugar. I probably shouldn't, no one should consume this amount of sugar in one sitting, and yet I did, so probably not a good thing to do. Well, anyways, that's gonna do for now. Thank you for tuning in, really appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, everybody, and have yourself a good night. Bye.